¡Órale, apúrense! Yo no voy a decidir lo que van a aprender. Eso lo van a decidir ustedes. Puede ser lo que sea, ¿eh? Lo que sea.
Pero ¿cómo vamos a sacar buenas calificaciones?
¿Qué importan las calificaciones?
¿Habían tenido una clase así antes?
Nunca había tenido un maestro así.
So we've been seeing the reviews on this film, and it looks to be amazing. I've seen it myself, and I went through an arc of emotions. And now being able to see you right now, I know that there's so many reviewers telling you what this movie is and what it's not. Can you share with me what your family thinks about it?
My family?
Yes.
Well, I was shocked because honestly, when we were shooting this film, I thought it was more it was like this candidate I always wanted to do. I never thought probably about it as a big commercial movie. And it was more something intimate that I wanted to do. And we had the premiere in Mexico last Monday. And my daughter told me, this is your best work in your entire career. And I was shocked. I was like, oh, okay. And a lot of people have been telling me that. So I am really in awe. I feel really flattered. I don't know if it is, but that's a few people have told me that before. So I think this is a very powerful movie based on a true story. And the fact that it has an amazing message, I feel this movie is really special because of the powerful message that it has. ¿Han escuchado hablar de la historia del burro que se cayó al pozo? ¿No? Se les voy a contar. Un día, un burro se cayó en un pozo muy profundo. De milagro no le pasó nada.
What was it like working with the children? You got such natural reactions from these children, and my understanding is that they're non-professional actors?
That's correct. This is the first time for all of them. So with maybe the exception of a couple kids in deep background. But it was, to answer your question, it was an absolute joy. You know, fundamentally, at some point it hit me that what we were doing in the making of this movie was essentially recreating the story we were telling, which was some outside adult comes in and sees all the inherent value, the special things these kids can do, and essentially taps into their potential. And I feel like, you know, it's really humbling, but the movie making was kind of the proof of the hypothesis of the story that we were telling. Genius is everywhere. You just have to, know how to see it, enable it.
It's such a love letter to the educators, to the education system.
Exactly.
Can you share with me what you were trying to evoke? What inspirations did you take from when you decided to push forward with this film?
I always wanted to portray Latinos in a different way in Hollywood. When I moved to this country, I promised myself that I had a chance of producing my own stuff. I would try to make other kind of films, because every time they call me to play a character in a movie, in a Hollywood movie, because I was Latino, I was always, like the drug lord or the gang member or the bad guy, or best case scenario, the gardener. And we're more than that. And that's why when I got this idea of doing radical, I said, okay, let's do it, because this is the kind of movies that I want to show. Movies where even though you're watching a reality, like what's going on in many parts of Mexico, you're also able to see guys like Sergio, that he's a real Mexican superhero. And that's the kind of stories that I like to tell the world. We are also good Mexicans, good people who, like Sergio, are trying to make a difference in our society, even though he was fighting against a system and with no resources at all. Señor Noyola.
Paloma ya no necesita esto. Se lo quiero regresar, no vaya a ser que se nos rompa aquí.
Pero, ¿esto qué es?
How was it to get this film made? It's something that on paper, it doesn't seem like it would come alive without seeing the amazing talent you have attached to it. Can you share with me what were the challenges and also what were the struggles for you to get to that point of actually getting it done? And how are you feeling now with the end results?
Yeah, well, I mean, this one was a little different because it started really with Eugenio Derbez, the actor. He acquired the magazine with his partner, Ben Odell, who we had all made a movie together in 2007, my very first movie that won Sundance. And so they remembered me now that they've gone on and become giants. And they call me back with this project. But because of that, you know, Eugenio is just kind of the biggest thing ever in Latin America, specifically Mexico. And so from a financing standpoint, it actually wasn't very hard at all. We just opened yesterday in Mexico, for example, on 2,500 screens. So, you know, he's a big deal. We beat Taylor Swift. We beat Martin Scorsese yesterday in Mexico. So, you know, that's one thing. You know, I always remember Life is Beautiful with Roberto Benigni. And I remember the advertising campaign behind it, which was like, Italy's most beloved, you know, actor, comic, and like we, you know, I don't think we have the budget to do that kind of campaign, but I always wanted to be like, that's who this guy is right now. And of course, he is crossing over into the States. He was just in Coda, which won Best Picture last year, so we are starting to get to know him. But yeah, fundamentally, he's a studio unto himself, and so from the financing side of things. It wasn't that hard. The American distribution side was a little bit different, and there are, you know, all kinds of stories there. But the execution, now that was hard. Right. I mean, writing any script is impossible. Don't let anybody ever tell you differently. But then actually going out and trying to bring to life, you know, physically. This reality, this world, and do it in a place that was hard. It was hard to shoot in. It was difficult. Which, by the way, despite that hardship, helped us in terms of performances, in terms of creating an atmosphere that was frankly the same atmosphere. It was correct. But yeah, it was exhausting and rewarding. I cried every day. Just because it was so hard and so beautiful every day.
Let me tell you, we wanted to film in Matamoros, but it was really dangerous. So we had to move to another part of the country and recreate Matamoros, and where we did an amazing job because everyone thinks it's Matamoros, and it's very look-alike, but it's hard to shoot in certain parts of the country because of, you know, a lot of violence. But we were still shooting in very rough conditions. There were a lot of trash, a lot of dust, a lot of poop, a lot of dogs, street dogs. So we got sick constantly. The kids were in 3 or 4 times during the shooting, we had to cancel scenes and move them around because they were sick, and it was because of the environment. So we were working under really rough conditions.
Right. If there's one thing you want people to know about this film and to go out and see it, what would you like to say about that, Eugenio?
Well, listen, a few times in my life, I've had the opportunity to tell a story like this one. This one is different from everything I've done before. It has everything. It has you're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna think, but the message that it has is really, really powerful. I'm always telling everyone that the best publicity we can make about this movie is to put a camera outside the theaters, so you can see how people walk out of the theaters completely moved and shocked, and many of them inspired. So don't miss it. Don't miss the movie because it's really, really, it's good. It's a religious experience, I swear.
What did you learn from his years, whole generations of experience? What did you learn from him directly in making this project?
I mean, first of all, Eugenio's the most generous actor I've ever worked with. He's incredibly courageous. He literally gave me like a safe word. He was like, if you want to do it 50, if we're on 55 and you want to take 56, I want to do 56. And if I'm ever fighting you a lot and you can't get through to me, just say, Chris, trust me. And I will. And that was true. I only had to do it once. Here's what I learned from Eugenio. And as a writer, I wrote the script. You know, you're always looking for tension, drama, and that comes from conflict. And so you do this conflict with characters. And it was remarkable to me that he did it so consistently. We never talked about it. I let all my actors change their dialogue. I don't care as long as I'm getting the meaning out of it that I'm looking for. I want them to make it their own. And of course, he's Eugenio, and his first language is Spanish, mine is not. So he already had a kind of authority anyway. But what was amazing was to see him in these, like in a conversation with Paloma's father. And he says, I know this is a big stretch for you. He would constantly take away the things that his character would do on any level to assault someone else's dignity, to cut at their dignity. He was always making sure he left them with their dignity. And it was like the scene could still happen. But this person is going to leave dignified from this conflict, from this argument. And it was just eye-opening to me as a director, as a human being. Like, because I'm not that person when I argue with other people. I fight to win, you know? It was really, really, amazing. And that's who he is. He's, as you said, he's this generous spirit.
Señor Juárez, este lugar. A nadie le importa un carajo lo que pasa aquí. Usted pidió venir aquí. ¿Para qué?
Pues, solo quería probar algo distinto.
No vaya a patear el avispero, ¿ok?
No, ¿cómo cree que? No.
¿Pero odia la escuela? ¿Qué pasó?
Hay un profesor que él hace las cosas diferentes.
No son bancas, son botes salvavidas.
¡Sálvenlo! ¡Vamos!
¿Qué va a hacer después? ¿Convertir el patio en un salón de clases?
¡Rotación! ¡Todos! ¡Movimiento de rotación!
Nada ha cambiado en la educación en los últimos 100 años. Pero resulta que estos niños son bien abusados.
¿Tú crees que yo podría ser ingeniera aeroespacial?
Lo que cada uno de ustedes necesita, ya lo tienen. Potencial.
Señor Juárez, estoy muy inquieto por el hecho de que he recibido varias quejas de que los niños no están preparados.
A ver.
Te pedí que no patearas el avispero. ¿Y qué hiciste tú?
Quisiera darte el mundo entero.
¿Quieres aprender de los libros? ¿Quieres aprender de la vida?
La luna, el cielo, el sol y el mar.
Usted manda a estos niños disparados como cohetes al espacio, metiéndole todas esas ideas en la cabeza.
Regalarte las estrellas.
Recordándole lo que no pueden tener, lo que no pueden ser.
En una caja de cristal.
No, te lo suplico, no la abras.
Tienes que decidir qué dirección quieres que siga tu vida.
Llevarte al espacio sideral.
No importa cuánta tierra nos avienten. A mí dígame lo que quiera, pero no tiene por qué hablarle así a los niños. Nos vamos a sacudir, la vamos a usar y vamos a ser los mejores estudiantes del mundo. Usted me preguntó que por qué vine aquí. Ya no quiero perder más niños. Ni uno más.
Llevarte al espacio sideral.